Yo, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Dimas, the Walking Dead All Stars YouTuber. In this video, I'm going to be basing off my top 5 characters that you should headhunt. Specifically, this is the video that I'm gonna make for newer player or even veterans who still playing the game and didn't know what did you gonna do to build up your roster. Because in this video, I'm just basing off my opinions on who you should headhunt, based on my top 5. Specifically on Warlord and Overseer characters. Yeah. Normal characters in here is pretty much obtainable on this recruit segment, from alignment, the alignment recruit, this time in bystander, guarantee recruit, and interaction recruit. Headhunt, in my opinion, is the good way to farm warlord and overseer characters, and I'm just gonna basing it like from 5, kinda least prioritized to top 1 to most prioritized, in my opinion. And if you have some opinions about it, let me know in the comment section below. And without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, now landing on number 5 is going to be the Overseer Jesus. And yes, you might be thinking, hey Dimas, isn't he available on Frontier Shop for 250k Frontier casket? Well, let's be honest. There's a 3 unknown sharks in there and I would prefer buy that instead. Sorry. But that's not a main reason why you should pretty much headhunt Jesus. The reason is that number 1, the flying kick, and number 2 is pretty much usable in many game modes. Let me break this down. Okay, at the first reason, the flying kick. If you read the skill on entering combat, launches a powerful kick against an enemy facing directly opposite. And he is pretty much one of the most broken character in the game. I mean, just by that skill, he is pretty much your, magnum opus of the Overseer character. It's kind of like Abraham, but on Overseer alignment. Now, the next reason is he is pretty much usable on many game modes. On world stages, on stage 20, you may face Jesus teams that pretty much on the enemy team, and the way you counter the enemy Jesus is by using another Jesus in your team. No matter what tier it is either epic or pretty much mythic, if you can. Jesus is countering Jesus. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you actually have someone that you can hire a Jesus and you can just put beside the Jesus enemy, that enemy Jesus is staying in that team instead of coming to your team. Like, again, he is pretty much the only counter to the enemy Jesus. You can count Vania, but she didn't work. You can count Yumeko, she didn't even work. Blaine, she didn't even work. And even Inventor Eugene, which makes Jesus jump to another character, which is really, really bad idea. So that's why you should at least headhunt him to epic Jesus, because it's pretty much helping your world stage 1 a lot. Now, he's pretty much usable on Frontier team. I have another fellow All Stars YouTuber named Luis147. He has a video short of him using Jesus on his solo Frontier team. You should check it out. I'll have his YouTube link down in the description, plus one of his shorts that you should pretty much check it out. It's pretty much good. He's pretty much lucky to get Mythic Jesus, and he's using it really well. you should definitely check it out because, again, he is gonna be usable on many game modes like in Last Man Standing, Frontier Search, or even Center of Frontier, where you have 3 teams that use, and he can fit on one of the teams. And lastly, he will be used on camp defense. Yes, not only main one, but overseer camp defense. And that's pretty much one of the reasons why you should pretty much invest your warlord and overseer characters a lot. Now, onto his rarity. Do I think he's pretty much, a big prioritized to Mythic? I would think so if you actually care his benefits a lot, His benefit is just boosting his attack and that's all of it. To me, I have him on Legendary and I'm just gonna stop because his personal gear is pretty much one of the best, one of his best buff, which was his stats, because evasion and lifesteal. His gear effects is kinda okay, He's pretty much, mano a mano a whole team because of his flying kick skill that he's jumped towards the enemy, and his personal gear is pretty much useful, And I would say that you can actually stop headhunt him once you got him on Legendary. If you wanna try to get to Mythic, so be it. But you're just gonna have to grind his benefits. So I wouldn't pretty much, prioritize him a lot. That's why I put him on top 5. Because, he's pretty much just a character that you should get, but not to prioritize. Coming at you at number 4 is surprisingly once again a Warlord Negan. And you might ask again, oh Dimas, isn't Negan on Frontier Shop again for 250k Frontier Casket? But no, I'm gonna buy Unknown Shards instead, thank you. Now, you might thinking, Dimas, why are you putting him on top 4? Character that you should headhunt. There are 3 reasons. This one, the selected skill. This one, the leader of the savior skill. And mostly his benefits, which I'm gonna talk about it one by one. Okay, reason number 1 is selected. He's pretty much, pulling a enemy that is pretty much far from him, near to him. That's pretty much useful if you actually don't have the Abraham and Chloe stats. Basically, if you have Chloe and Mythic, you have her benefits level 3. All enemies will be jam-packed into the middle. That's pretty much the strat's good for Abraham. But if you don't have him, her, not him, Chloe is a girl. But if you don't have Chloe to Mythic and don't have her benefit at level 3, Negan is your solution. Which is why this skill is pretty much like the mini Chloe, because he's gonna, he's gonna drag a enemy that is far to his knee, and that's pretty much good if you come up against, some world stages that really begging to use Negan. And I use Negan a lot. It's before the benefits update. I think it was 1.12 or 1.11, I forgot, but I usually use Negan and he is gonna be used a lot in world stages. Not only that, total war with this skill. The second reason why I choose Negan on number 4 is skill of leader of the saviors. He's pretty much preventing the enemy's ultimate for 5 seconds. And that's pretty much really cool things to do, because he is a support character and his job is pretty much just doing a not only buffing enemies and buffing the comrades and debuffing the enemy. He's also dealing a crowd control to all enemies that they cannot use the ultimate for 5 seconds. Isn't that crazy? And it's pretty much apply on Total War boss, specifically the Borderland chemist. And he is pretty much used a lot in there. Negan is pretty much one of your men that you should pretty much headhunt, you know. And the last reason is his benefits. To have his benefits right here is the reason why you should pretty much headhunt him to Mythic, because at level 3 he is pretty much immune to crowd control and reduce the damage from duration of the selected, so he cannot get stunned, he cannot get robbed by Abraham, he cannot get crowd control during his selected skill, which is awesome. Oh, at level 9 it gets better. It's pretty much not only pulling one character enemy but 2 enemies. Now this is based on my speculation because I actually not having him on Mythic yet, but I will do. And seeing these benefits, 2 benefits in here that buffing the selected skill, is the main reason why you should have him headhunted, because Negan is one of the best warlord characters that you should get, specifically in both world stages and Total War boss on Borderland chemist. Now, where you gonna stop grinding him? I would say if you really want the best of his benefits that buff his selected with, you know, with these skills, like at level 3 and level 9 his selected skill is gonna be useful a lot, that you can actually stop on mythical 0 star if you can, or if you actually just, you know, just want to stop at legendary, he's pretty much still fine, you know, because Negan's personal gear is pretty much just buffing his ultimates, which, you know, is pretty much a debuff to the enemies and buff to the comrades. That's just gonna be cool, you know. And I think the reason why you should actually stop on legendary if you actually focusing on the other top 3 characters that I'm gonna talk about it later. Now landing on number 3, we got Ezekiel and Shiva, 2 characters in one. That's pretty much a unique one. Now the reason why I pretty much putting Ezekiel and Shiva on that number 3, because he is one of the most unique support character because of this, the Legend of the Kingdom. As you know, when Ezekiel and Shiva is on combat, Ezekiel will be the character stay behind, since he is pretty much dealing the range damage with his M4. I think it was M4 or M16. Oh god, I'm not some gun nuts or something. And Shiva will be the one who's pretty much dealing a melee damage. That's pretty much one of his gimmick on Ezekiel and Shiva, because it's essentially a 2 characters, or should I say a 1 character that can deal both range and melee damage. And not only that, when Ezekiel and Shiva uses the ultimate, all comrades including himself will increase the speed by 75 for 10 seconds, and all the debuff from the enemy that apply to all comrades will be removed, and pretty much adding the crowd control resist for 4 seconds. Isn't that amazing? And he is pretty much used in many Total War and joint combat team. You don't believe me? Check every team cleared in your Total War and joint combat. You will see Ezekiel and Shiva is used there every single time because of this skill, like Legend of Kingdom. He is one of the most unique character, and he might not be broken like Jesus and the other character that I'm gonna mention, but he is one of the top character that you can actually prioritize to headhunt him, because it's not only that you can save your time for hiring your mercenary in your friend list. Like, I can understand that you don't want to headhunt him because I have a friend that have, 5-star mythical Ezekiel Shiva on 309. 309 means that level 30 on personal gear and 9 benefit. But let's be honest, there's another camp defense, that is the Overseer camp defense. Then you actually need to grind your roster, and it's inevitable, to be honest. And I'm pretty much on legendary Ezekiel and Shiva, by the way. And I have a goal that I'm gonna get to the mythic, because not only his personal gear that is good, but also his benefit. As you can see, his benefit is pretty much shielding the Ezekiel and Shiva, because when they lost the HP greater than 70%, they gain 50% max HP shield for 15 seconds if you get him to level 9. This is pretty much useful, especially when it comes to, again, Total War and joint combat, because the more you attack them, boss, the more damage they will dishing out, and this benefit is pretty much helpful to actually make Ezekiel and Shiva survive a little bit. This is pretty much a good sustainability that they have in his band and the benefit. On his personal gear, it's kinda cool, I think you can actually get him to level 20. But I think level 30 is pretty much huge, because remember I told you about that Ezekiel and Shiva is essentially a 2 character in one? Yeah. Ezekiel dealing range damage while Shiva dealing a melee damage, because in personal gear effect, they pretty much just synergize a lot. Take for example at level 10, when Ezekiel is close to Shiva, increases both the attack by 10%. When they are far from each other, increase both of their defense by 25%. This is pretty much cool, And like I said, you can actually just stop at level 20. But again, I would advise to get him on level 30, because it's pretty much boosting the Shiva's attack by 100% for 6 seconds, Her gear stats is kinda good, because firepower reduced rate is pretty much essential, especially, all Total War bosses and joint combat dealing firepower. So it's pretty much good for the sustainability of Ezekiel Shiva. So where do I stop at the rarity to headhunt him? Well, you can stop at legendary if you can, but I would pretty much advise to get him on mythical. Mythical 0-star is cool enough, because you're gonna unlock his benefit, and it's pretty much a good benefit in my opinion. Okay, now 3 down, 2 to go. At number 2 is going to be the mythical warlord Lang, who is going to be the character that you should headhunt really on. Like early investment, Lang is a must. He is one of the most unique characters in the warlord alignment, if not the best character ever in the game. There are 3 reasons that you should pretty much get him. First reason is his menacing look skill. His second reason is going to be his personal gear, especially the gear effects. And lastly, his benefits, which I'm going to break down one by one. Okay, reason number one is his menacing look. It says that when nearby enemies for 10 seconds to deal 60% attack as damage to all enemies within the range for every 0.5 seconds. And that's pretty much huge because the menacing look in here is pretty much get buffed by this benefit. I'm gonna be talking about that later, but this skill already good. This is pretty much the new level of OP, or should I say, like I said in the number 5 is Jesus. He also got the skill that is pretty much OP, while Lang is pretty much having this. And let's be honest, Lang is pretty much shine with this. Like him dealing a lot of damage when he's pretty much around him, it's really amazing. Like, have you seen that purple aura of death? That enemy is there because of an auto attack. They're scared of death because of Lang, which is really funny. Now, reason number 2, the personal gear. Now, what you should know about Lang is that he's like a man who is pretty much, the more people die or more comrades die, the more stronger he is. Because if you look at his gear effect, he's focusing on every time a comrade dies, he's pretty much buffing himself. Not only he's obtaining energy, attack, speed, but he's also pretty much tanking the damage because of the menacing skill I'm pretty much highlighted. Even though his gear stats is pretty much kinda meh because he has no evasion or even speed buff on it, this personal gear effect is really shine on him because he's like a last man stand character. Like if you can have 5 warlord characters and you can cheese it by putting them at level 1 and let Lang be the high character, you can actually just decimate all enemy team with Lang. Like, have you seen my shorts lately? Because I'm pretty much using the Lang, the god himself. He is pretty much like the death god, like Grim Reaper or Charon. Like, my god, I really love him. And now another reason, the final reason why you should Headhunt Lang is benefits. At level 3, the enemy hit by menacing look after Lang's first ultimate will pretty much obtain 50% less energy for 2 seconds. It's kinda meh, to be honest. But at level 9, however, after Lang using the second ultimate where he pretty much swiped the attack and dealing damage instead of him using the ultimate at first and just striking the his sight on his hand, he pretty much make menacing look last until combat ends, and the hit target cannot use their ultimate for 2 seconds. This is the reason why Lang is pretty much used on many total war boss, especially on the Borderland cameras. That's pretty much postpone his using his ultimate really well. And that's the reason why you should actually get Lang to mythical. You can go at least at legendary, but I think you're gonna miss out on this because this one, his benefits is really shine. Now that's pretty much leaves us on where do you gonna stop on headhunting Lang. To me, it's on mythical 0 star. I wouldn't advise to stop on legendary. You actually need to get him to mythical because of these benefits. Like I said before, him at 309 is really cool enough. It's really good enough. Plus, if you can have his gear at tier 3, he is pretty much strong enough that you can actually just leave it there. Mythical 0 star with personal gear at 30. You can just go 40, but that's pretty much, overkill in my opinion. I get his benefit to level 9 by pretty much grinding and saving the legendary benefit ticket to get Lang at level 9. Which is simple because I already got that and it's really useful. It is 100% worth it, like 100%. So, once again, I'm gonna answer it. That question, where would you stop headhunting Lang? I would say at mythical 0 star. You can actually mythic 5 star him, but I wouldn't advise it because at last place is the one that you should focus more. And that, my friend, is going to be the queen herself, mythical overseer Michonne, who is pretty much landing on top number 1. You might thinking, why her? Why is she the one you should prioritize to headhunt? There's a lot of reasons. Number 1, indomitable will. Number 2, bait. And number 3, her personal gear. Number 4, her benefit. And number 5 is the mission, which I'm going to be talking about it one by one. Now, the first one is indomitable will. She's pretty much unkillable, if you notice, because she has a gimmick that she is a revivable character when she's taking a lot of damage and the HP bar is gone 0. She is gonna just stay dead, or should I say, regenerate her health, and pretty much come back in the battle to fight again. And again, she pretty much gonna die if all comrades around her is dead while she was hiding. Again, this skill, passive in my opinion, is beyond insane. Not on, Jesus flying kick level, or even like, Lang's menacing look skill level. She is pretty much unkillable. One of the characters that is pretty much unkillable in my opinion. Unless, again, all comrades around her dies before her. Now the second reason, bait. She is one of the best killer in my opinion. That's why you see a lot of, loot war, total war character boss is pretty much using Michonne because she's not only healing, but she's pretty much taking a lot of damage by the sniper skill in the loot truck. That indomitable will and bait is pretty much synergized a lot. That's pretty much one of the reasons why Michonne is, in my opinion, top tier support character alongside Sophia, Glenn, or any other support characters out there. Because of this, like 230% attack HP restoration on Michonne. If you put ammo box on her, she is pretty much healing your teammates a lot. I know it's 2 teammates, but still, she is gonna healing a lot of health, which is awesome. Okay, and the reason number 3 is her personal gear. Gear stats is cool. She gained speed for 10 and crit rate for 12. Speed is pretty much good because she pretty much can speed up the indomitable will passive quite a lot, so she can just revive a lot faster and sooner. And her personal gear effect pretty much buffing the indomitable will, like buffing her attack and defense and pretty much obtaining energy when indomitable will is triggered. Like, she is amazingly good, and she can revive faster if her energy is pretty much high up and just ready to ultimate, which is really insane in my opinion. You should actually just go to legendary. No, actually go to the mythical tier because her benefits is pretty much good. Like at level 3, You know, if she pretty much triggers the Indomitable Will, she deal a lot of 110% attack to the nearby enemy every second that she pretty much triggering the Indomitable Will. And she can restore her HP by 60% by the damage that she done. And also at level 9, if there's a comrade with HP lower than Michonne, she gonna spend 50% of her current HP and turn it into shield for herself. That is amazing. And if the HP spend exceeded 10% of her max HP, the cooldown of Swordsman is reduced by 50%, and this effect triggers every 5 seconds. I cannot even tell you, but Michonne is one of the best characters that you should pretty much max on, benefit. I wouldn't say that level 30 of Michonne personal gear is good enough. I say level 40 is just for gear stats, but to be honest, level 30 is fine by me. I don't even have her at mythical 3 or 9. Mythical without no star, by the way. And that's pretty much bring me to the reason number 5, because there is a survivor mission for both Abraham and Michonne. And Michonne, if you got her on Mythic, you can get her PFP animated Michonne. Isn't that cute? Isn't it amazing? Like, it rewards you for getting Michonne to higher tier. Like, you should never ever leave it. Like, you should never sleep on headhunting Michonne. Like, I'm begging you. And do I think the question of, where do you gonna stop headhunting on Michonne is viable? Well, the answer is simple. Stop at mythical 0 star if you want to. Or you can just 5-star her, because for the mission, the survivor mission that can, at 5-star you can get 1 legendary tickets, which is really really cool. So you're like, yeah, mission is, it's no brainer. You should headhunt her 100%. No, no questions asked. This is your answer. Like, free to play, pay to play, even new player, older player, you should get Michonne to mythical, like, right away. And that's pretty much, my top 5 headhunt characters that you should do. Again, this is just my opinion. If there's any characters that didn't put on the list, I am so sorry. Well, especially to you, my friend Mechanism. You might begging for, Horse-Rick in there, or even Gunther in there. Hahaha, yeah, screw you. Anyway, sorry about that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care, everyone.